Now from Singapore, examining the business stories and economic trends reshaping the world. Talking Business Asia on BBC World News.
Since gaining independence from British rule 75 years ago, the Indian economy has transformed from protectionist to one closer to a free market economy. But Asia's third largest economy may be changing course again towards a future of economic independence. Will India's push to a self-reliant economy work, or will it do more harm than good? I'm Arunodaya Mukherjee, and welcome to this edition of Talking Business Asia. Atmanirbhar Bharat. In Hindi, that means Self-Reliant India. 2 years ago, the Indian government launched a new economic blueprint promising $25 billion to promote and grow local businesses. It's not the first time India has heard about self-reliance. It was a rallying cry during the country's fight for independence more than 7 decades ago.
31st July 1921, Mahatma Gandhi took a pledge to boycott foreign goods by burning English cloth. He said it was a tall ask, but it would enable India to demonstrate its self-reliance in the face of British rule. Gandhi encouraged Indians to weave khadi, the Indian homespun cloth, and give up British textiles. The spinning wheel and the textile itself became a symbol of Indian independence. Through most of its independent history, India adopted protectionist economic policies. But in the 1990s, the country opened up, ushering in the age of a free market economy. Now, India is pitching for self-reliance. The pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine conflict further triggering the need to reduce reliance on external factors. The government claims the $25 billion spent on production-linked incentives will not only create millions of jobs, but boost domestic production to nearly $500 billion. But can India wean itself away from global supply chains that are cheaper and more reliable? And are India's ambitions for self-reliance at odds with its over-reliance on the international networks, especially China?
The Indian government is providing incentives to the manufacturing and industrial sector to make products at home. Getting big business on board is key for these policies to work. But business leaders admit that this may yet be the toughest challenge. To find out more, we spoke to Mr. SAJJAN Jindal, chairman of the JSW Group, a $35 billion company and one of India's largest steel players. Is India on the path to self-reliance?
I think we are just kind of celebrating this year is our 75th year. And there has been a big desire from everybody in this country, and especially from our Prime Minister, that India must become self-reliant. We must grow our economy to a level where we don't need anything from anywhere, any part of the world.
You had mentioned in 2020 that net imports from China worth nearly $400 million were coming in, and you were looking to bring that down to zero in 2 years. That's 2022. Have you been able to do that?
At that time, it was a different situation because there was conflict on the borders, and there was passions in India was running very high against China, and we were all feeling that China, they would take some more area of India, and we must protect that. Every company in India and every person in India must show their resistance towards that move of China. So that really affected a lot of Indians, and I also got affected. And we took a decision that we will not import stuff from China. We really did that, and after that things became normal, then we again started back to our requirements.
So the dependence remains on China, you're saying?
It does. It does, especially in our industry. China is the largest in steel industry in the world. They produce nearly 50% of the steel. So they have a huge machine building capability. So, that's what we are trying to do in India also. So, but after that incident, what we are doing is that we are developing a lot of machine building activities in India, a lot of things which we were blindly getting from China. Now we are very, with a lot of awareness, we are buying from China, thinking that, okay, over next 2 or 3 years, we will replace it with domestic production.
We're looking at external factors affecting supply chains. currently talking in the context of the Russia-Ukraine war. How much of a concern is that then?
There is a serious concern on that, but you know, I have also come to realize of one thing, that China is a very mature economy. They are not, they're not very, how shall I say, they're not very emotional about things. Maybe Indians are a little more emotional than the Chinese. So they will not disrupt supply chain just because they have some other plans on the border. So, you know, I think the economic and the military, they keep separate, more or less. So there is no big threat, but it will be wise on our part, on the part of the Indian industry, to become self-reliant and don't rely on China.
But this, you know, talking about self-reliance, does it also in some way signal protectionism coming in?
If you talk about protectionism, then I would say protectionism is in Europe, protectionism is in USA. They have put 25% import duty on steel, on any product from the rest of the world. They will just put anti-dumping duty like this at the click of a button. And you know, though the world says that they are liberal, they are what is the word? They are pro world trade, but the reality is that there is a huge import duties on at least the products that we produce.
So then, you know, how does the Indian public then reconcile to the political leadership talking about self-reliance, Atmanirbhar Bharat as it translates into, and then, you know, people who are in action like you actually saying, look, we cannot reduce dependence. It's not possible right now. We're not nearly there.
You cannot become self-reliant overnight. It's a slow process. The direction is right. Today, what Prime Minister Mr. Modi is telling all the industry or the country as a whole as a concept that we have to become self-reliant. So I think everybody is moving into that direction. But it is taking time, because in India nothing happens very quickly.
So how can Indian industry contribute to the growth and to this idea of self-reliance?
We have to use an Indian product in the industry. If I want to buy a product, then I must encourage the Indian industry to supply me. Even if it is a little more expensive, even if it is taking a little more time, you have to do that. So I think not everybody is willing to do that.
So everyone, Indian industry is not on the same page when it comes to this.
Yeah, in any case, can't be. You know, you can't have everybody thinking, because I was watching some interview of some other industrialist, and they were saying that no, my idea is we must make cheap, and we must make for the domestic market, and if I have to buy from China, then I will buy from China. And I was kind of taken aback that, you know, this kind of sentiments are also existing in our country.
And in your conversations with the government, when you meet at high-level delegations, have you put forth your view?
This is discussed on a daily basis at the Planning Commission, Niti Ayog, with the Prime Minister himself, because he likes to understand, he meets us one-on-one and likes to understand what are the issues that you would like government to look at. So I think...
And the suggestions are taken well?
And suggestions are taken extremely
well. And they're put into action?
Even criticism is taken extremely well.
And they're put into action?
And they're put into action, absolutely, immediately.
Can you give me an example of something that you suggested that actually was put into action?
I mean, it's difficult to quantify right now. I wouldn't remember, but there are many instances. For example, for making steel, we need coking coal, right? And India doesn't have coking, or India has, but we have not extracted that coking coal, and we rely on Australia, Canada, other parts of the world to bring that coal. Now, I went and mentioned it to Prime Minister that, sir, we need this coking coal to be extracted from Jharia area, which is a very, very crowded area, and a lot of people live there and very difficult to mine. But he has already put a mission coking coal in India, in Delhi.
What is that one big advantage that India has compared to other countries?
Our demography, our population, our size of the country, huge, big market, huge market.
And all of this can be harnessed to put it in the right direction.
Being harnessed. As we are growing, the market is growing. The more steel I produce, the more I can sell. You know, so it's a huge advantage. No other country provides that kind of platform that China did for the Chinese steel producer, Chinese industry. India is doing now for Indian industry. It's a big, big plus.
Coming up next, in an interconnected world where global supply chains react faster and are more cost-effective for companies, is being self-reliant economically viable for India?